What's up, my cochinos and cochinas? Welcome back to another video. Today we got something very especial for you. We're continuing with the Takis series. I went to Ampm and I got a tapatio hot dog. I never seen this before. I didn't even know they had it. I just lucked out and got it. Check that out, homies. Ampm has a tapatio hot dog, so technically I got the tapatio on deck, but I had to add some Takis to that shit to take it up a notch, you know what I mean? So we got some Takis on there. And then I also got a cheeseburger from Ampm, and that cheeseburger is filled with Takis as well, all right? But before we get intimately involved with that, let's go ahead and crack open the Coca. As you can see, it's a Bang energy drink. Miami Cola is the kind. Miami Culo. All right. So we got the energy flowing through the system now. We're good to go. All right, thank you guys for being patient. Welcome back to another video. I haven't really been making a whole lot of videos, but I have been uploading to TikTok. I haven't been making them on YouTube. I've known about TikTok for a while, but from what I knew, I thought it was like a kid's kind of app, so I didn't really want nothing to do with it. But I'm like, hey, let me expand my horizons, you know, kind of like your ex-wife used to expand her horizons. So yeah, I went ahead and downloaded it, and I've been uploading videos on there. So if you want to check me out on TikTok, it's Trejo's World. I guess before Trump removes it. I don't know. You know, I guess something's going on with that. All right. So check me out on there. I do, crazier shit on there. All right. But there's nothing like a nice YouTube video. Am I right? Hit the like button if you agree. We're gonna go ahead and get intimately involved, and then I'm also gonna tell you about the time that we'll get there. I got so many stories on my mind, I don't even know which one I want to do. Let's go ahead and get intimately involved with this hot dog first. Well, can't waste any Takis. So the hot dog itself, it's not that great. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to make it sound unappealing or nasty, but I think Ampm boils their hot dogs or something, or maybe they broil them, I don't know. But I personally like my hot dogs fried or on the barbecue grill. All right, and before you leave the video because you're bored as fuck, which you probably already left, if you didn't leave and you're still here and you're gonna watch the whole video, type below, I fuck with Trejo, alright? Alright, before you left the video, I mean, since you're here, we're gonna go ahead and talk about the time. Yeah. I worked at a carnival, and one of the rides malfunctioned, but I was able to save the day, okay? So, we'll get into that. Speaking of that, are there any fairs this year? I haven't heard shit about our county fair. I figured that shit's probably just canceled for the year. I hope you guys are all good. I hope everybody's mental health is on point. You know, been kind of a fucked up year. But I was just having a conversation earlier with my lady and shit. I was like, you know what, 2020, for me, definitely not the worst year of my life. Has this shit been crooked the whole time? I don't know. Definitely not the worst year of my life. I've had some pretty crazy years, you know what I mean? Let me know in the comments below if 2020 is the craziest year you've ever lived through. You know what I mean? I'm 38 years old, so I've seen some shit, lived through some shit, some flus, some swine flus, you know what I mean, some bird flus, some anthrax being sent in the mail, you know what I mean, some wars and shit, fucking Rodney King riots, you know what I mean, a lot of shit that's going on I've seen before. So there's a lot of people out there that like to be like, it's the end of the world. I'm like, well, if this entails what the end of the world is, then the end of the world should have happened at least 1,000 times, you know what I mean? Shit's been going on like this since even the Bible was written, you know what I mean? I don't want to get into religious talk, though. So, I was looking at this carnival one time, and the reason I was working at the carnival is because I needed money, and I saw an ad in the newspaper. Yes, the newspaper, that's how old I am, right? And it said, now hiring carnival workers, right? They try to appeal to you by saying you get to travel, you know, lodging paid for and shit like that. Which was true. For the short time that I was with that company, we got to travel. And yes, I had a place to stay. But it was very shitty. It was a little better than living in your car, but still shitty. So, we went up to Oregon, right? There's a place called Grants Pass in Oregon. If you're from Oregon or been through there, or you know what I'm talking about, comment below. Say Grants, Puff Puff Pass, alright? That'll let me know that you know. So go to Grants Pass and fucking set everything up. I'm in charge of the tilt-a-whirl, alright? If you don't know what that is, that's what we used to call, as kids, the apple ride, right? Now, if you know what that is below, type apple bottom jeans, alright? Or just fucking tell me you know what it is. Alright. So I'm in charge of that ride. Everything's going good. You know, we're a couple hours in. And then a lot of people start coming. The way it works is the later the night goes on, the more people come. Feel me? So a lot of people started coming and wanting to get on the apple ride, right? So let's say about 10 rides or so. When I say that, I mean like every time I operated this ride, every 10 rides or so, there's a maintenance guy that came out, you know, to make sure that everything was lubricated correctly, that there were no loose bolts or anything that was off, alright? But he wasn't there. I had hella people online. But that 10th ride, I was waiting for that fool, because he's usually right on time. That fool wasn't there. So I got on a little radio and was like, where the fuck is this fool at? And they're like, we can't find him. And that's the only maintenance guy we got. Rolling down the windows because it's fucking hot. Alright. So it's like, well, I don't know what you guys got going on, but I got at least 30 people in line. We got to get this shit going. And they're like, you got to keep the ride going. They're like, just keep it going. You know what I mean? We're going to lose business. We're going to have too many complaints. They're like, it's just a tilt-a-whirl. Nothing could go wrong. It's not like you're operating the fucking Kamikaze or any other ride. I was like, okay, well, Maybe you're right. Excuse me. Maybe you're right. So I just kept it running, you know, thinking, you know, what's the worst that could go wrong? Like, it could rust up or something like that, you know what I mean? Like, and if it rusted up, it wouldn't like go completely rusty, you know what I mean? It would just not work correctly anymore, you know what I mean? Like, not as, you know, one of the funnest parts of that ride is when it starts spinning like a motherfucker, you know what I mean? So maybe it wouldn't spin as accurately, people wouldn't get as pleasurable of an experience, but I've disappointed people before, you know what I mean? So it wasn't anything that wasn't new to me. So anyways, another 20 rides go by. The fool still hasn't showed up. Everything's working correctly though, so I'm like, you know what, fuck it. I could probably just keep going to the end of the night, you know what I mean? So we're almost closed. We have about, let me say, 30 minutes left, right? Now don't hate me for saying this, okay? I'm just telling you what happened. About 4 large females came up. And when I say large, I mean like, and I'm not saying this judging them, I'm just trying to give you the, you know, I'm trying to show you what kind of why things may have went how they went. They were like my 600-pound life large, you know what I mean? Not hating, you know, if you're 600 pounds and shit and you're watching this, you know, I hope that you lose some weight, and, you know, if you don't want to lose weight, then don't lose weight. Anyway, these 4 hyenas came up, and, you know, I mean, they wanted to ride the ride. There was no one else online, and it probably had been at least 15 minutes before anybody was even on the ride. So I was just like, yeah, that's cool. You can do 2 and 2? And they're like, no, we don't want to get on the same one. And I was like, you guys all want to be on the same one? They're like, yeah. I was like, okay. You know, I'm not going to be the guy discriminating, you know what I mean? Especially because I was single at the time, and you know what I mean? Like, I wanted to, you know, maybe end the night with a blast. So, anyways, they got on. They all squeezed into one of the half apples, right? Apple ride, whatever. And I'm not going to lie. Where we greased the bolts and everything at, it kind of like started seeping out a little bit, you know what I mean? And so I went up, you know, before I started it, because I saw, you know, there's some concern. I was like, well, let me see what's going on. So I went up and I touched the fluid a little bit, and it smelled like apple juice. It was weird, you know what I mean? Like, they were squeezing that ride so much that the apple juice was seeping out of the, like, it was weird. Like, it probably wasn't apple juice, you know, maybe it was in my head. You know what I mean? But anyway, so they're on the ride. I'm like, fuck it, you know, let's just get this shit going. I pushed, you know, you got to push the thing down on them, and I pushed it maybe half an inch, you know what I mean? And that was good enough for them to be locked in. So I go, start the ride, and they're going, you know what I mean? The ride lasts about 2.5 minutes or something like that, right? You know what I mean? I programmed it that way, you know what I mean? Because I wanted to make sure that people were satisfied with 2.5 minutes, you know what I mean? So, anyways, they're on the ride. It's cool, whatever. This thing starts fucking swinging, you know what I mean? Like spinning fast, bro. Like, you could feel the force of the wind and shit. Like, my bandana even flew off a little bit. I was like, oh, fuck. And I had to, like, you know, fix it and shit like that. And so, you know, there's about 30 seconds left, right? So everything started going in slow motion for me, bro. It was so fucking weird. Like, they were spinning and then spinning. And then the fucking, it's like a, what do you call it? Like a fucking, gasket, whatever, like a metal gasket that holds the rides down, like, starts coming up and shit, you know what I mean? So that shit starts coming up, and you can hear it creaking, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even know if that's the correct sound, but it starts coming up. And so me, you know, I was like, I can't let this shit come up, because if that shit comes up, then, you know what I mean, they're gonna go flying off this motherfucking shit, because that's what kind of keeps them in place. So my instant thought was to just jump on this shit, you know, and just like hold it down, right? So I just run, I rip off my shirt and shit. I'm not sure why I did that, but I rip off my shirt, and then I belly flopped on top of the fucking metal piece, you know, to make it stay back down. So, like, I'm in the middle of the fucking ride, they're spinning out of control, and I'm in the middle fucking, you know, like, my limbs like all out, looking like an X, like laying down, belly flop, but I couldn't move, you know what I mean? So the whole ride just kept going, and they're spinning out of control. But then they start throwing up and shit, you know what I mean? There's like fucking, like, it was gross, bro. Like, there was like excess, not excess, but there was like Twinkie throw up and shit, you know, like corn dog, funnel cake, kind of like, it was gross. So I'm just spinning out of control, and then finally someone comes and stops the ride for me, right? I get up, and it's my fucking boss, and he's like, get the fuck over here. They start like stumbling off the fucking ride, and one of them like tripped and fell and like rolled off. Shit was crazy, bro. And he was like, you're fucking fired. Find your own way home. So I got fired. It was crazy. I will say, because I know you're probably wondering, like, well, did you get laid that night or not? I will say